So, with the psychic energy, with precognitive dreaming, you can have some precognitive dreams that are a little bit unclear, but the message and the main idea still come true. You can have very clear precognitive dreaming where you know exactly how everything is going to happen. Maybe a couple things are off. And then there's another one where it's even like the most possible clear. It's the clearest it'll ever be. And so you know exactly how it's going to happen, no doubts about it. And then there's deja vu. And a lot of people confuse deja vu for a mental glitch. They say, oh, it's just deja vu, there's nothing amazing or cool about that. Well, actually, deja vu is, one, a sign of a healthy brain, and two, your psychic energy is kicking in. That's pretty neat. I know that I've had deja vu before. Looking at, I used to be a server for a few years. I was looking at a guest, and then I looked into the kitchen at the restaurant. I don't know, something really familiar about how I'm looking at this person and looking at the kitchen and then walking to the kitchen. Everything's the exact same. I know that that guy is gonna pick up something. So I know exactly what he's gonna do seconds before he does it. That's your psychic energy. Pretty neat, huh? I've had the deja vu as well, where it's like, I don't know, I can't predict anything, but it seems really familiar. Or you see somebody, you look so familiar from somewhere. I just don't know how. A lot more people than we think have precognitive dreams, and sometimes these dreams are more clear and other times they're a little bit more foggy. It all depends on how strong your connection is, how much you actually want to have these kinds of dreams, so your intention. Oh yeah, that dream, I wonder if that's going to come true. This black horse that we had the Shetlands, and we had a black horse, and we had a brown horse. Black horse never drank out of this giant stock tank that we had for the cows for water. The other horses always did. And in the dream that I had during my nap so he actually drank out of the stock tank in my dream. And I was at a particular angle staring at him. And then the dream kind of panned around and I could see him from different angles. Now in real life, when we came up to the stock tank, I thought, oh yeah, that dream, I wonder if that's going to come true. Because when I had woken up from my nap, there was this feeling, this intuition, this knowing that it might come true. Like, oh, that's weird. I wonder if that comes true. Or like, oh, that's familiar. Or it's just something like here in this area, like in the chest area. A knowing, familiarity. If I'm saying that word correctly. So he drank out of the stock tank and I walked around him. I'm looking at him from all sides and that's pretty cool. I didn't think much of it because a lot of people, they don't really talk about it. Maybe they think they're going nuts. Maybe they just think it's normal. Maybe, I don't know. They just don't bring it up. I know that when I was an alcoholic for a couple of years, I struggled for a little while. It wasn't as long as some of these other people. I only struggled for a couple of years and it was horrible. I salute anyone and everyone who has the courage to get out of addiction, no matter what that addiction is. Addiction is hard. Addiction is tough. It is an obsession you have to overcome. So I'm so proud of anyone and everyone that overcomes sadness, which is a mental addiction, because our bodies are so used to behaving in these different emotional states, and it doesn't want to break free of it, even if it's better for you. So, those are all addictions. Proud of you for overcoming. Proud of you for trying to get over it. Thank you. Thank you for being better for you and for yourself. It will impact others around you as well. So my second, or maybe it was my third, precognitive dream when I was younger, I had a choice in my waking life. One, I could run away, and I had this feeling, I had this knowing that the dream would come true. And two, I had this feeling that if I went inside, the dream wouldn't come true, and all I would have to do inside the house was just wait until my dad stopped being so grumpy. By grumpy, I mean extremely angry. He wanted to beat me. So anyway, oh my gosh, like that means that the dream is going to come true. And there's this Jeep that comes in the last part of my dream, the second half of the dream. And they stop, and I see their taillights, and they pull back, and then the front driver, the only person driving, he leans over, and he rolls down the window. And then there's a man in the back. They're both men. I could tell that they're both men. But I couldn't see their faces, and I couldn't see what they were wearing.
and I didn't know what their intentions were with me or for me. And the guy in the back goes, "Do you need a ride?" And I could hear his voice, his man's voice. In the dream, they looked like men wearing a black mesh suit. Or they looked like shadow people, if you've ever seen shadow people, you know. Or they, you know, like Slender Man, except, you know, all black. If any of those descriptions help you understand what I saw in my dream. Now, in real life, here I saw the skyline, I went, oh my gosh, that's exactly the way it was in the dream, oh no. I pick up the pointiest rock ever, because in my head, in the dream, when they rolled down that window and they asked me that question, I thought in my head right before I woke up, oh no, are they gonna kidnap me? So I had this rock in my pocket, and I was holding onto this rock the entire time as I'm walking, because I'm like, I need to protect myself if that's gonna be true. And I knew that where the car was going to stop and back up, it was going to be around this turn where my mom actually went off the road. So my point with bringing this entire thing up is that everything was given to me in the dream crystal clear, except for these men's faces. Why didn't I see their faces? Was it not decided for the night who was going to drive and who was going to be passenger? Because in the waking life, the son was driving and the dad was sitting in the passenger seat, and then he's the one that jumped in the back. So why were they blacked out in my dream? What is that for? My next curiosity is, did I really have the option for if this dream would come true, or if I could choose a different reality by just heading inside, or was I predetermined to go on this path and run away from home to have this experience to be on this path? I know that from my near-death experience. Not everything is predetermined, though everything follows a pattern, so they know all of the possible outcomes already. It's laid out before them. They can see it. In those possible outcomes, there are big life events that are set in place. Those look like giant stones, right? Those you cannot escape from, or there's a very slight chance that you can go around those. So in that case, there are many life circumstances or many major events that will happen that it doesn't really matter what little choices you make leading up to that big event has to happen. So tried to sabotage this. I tried to test it. I walked faster. I tried to run to make the sun not set just at the right time, but guess what? The sun set perfectly, and that aligned with everything. There were so many little choices that I tried to make. Like when I got to the part, thank you, buddy. When I got to that part in the road where my mom went off, right? I stopped walking, because I knew that as soon as I got to the middle part of that bend, that dip right in the road where she went off, that is when I would see their car. So I stopped right before that, and I heard a car approaching, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be them for sure. And if it's not them, then and if it is them, again, that dream's not gonna come true if it is them, because I'm not standing in the spot that I was standing when they showed up. So I was just standing there in front of that spot. Car passed. It wasn't them. But then I was like, well, see, I proved my dream wrong. And then I took a step, and I stepped into the middle dip in the road, right? There's no way, because I don't hear another car. But then I heard another car coming. Oh, no. And they come like flying up the road. And they stop, and they back up. And they ended up being really nice guys, really gentlemanly. You know, I mean, he gave me the passenger seat. He didn't have to do that. You know, when my dad and I picked up hitchhikers, we just open the back seat for them. My dad didn't give up his seat. So that was really sweet of them to give me a seat. But then again, you know, hitchhikers aren't usually like 10 or 11-year-old kids. But it was really nice. They dropped me off at my friend's house, and I got to spend like a week living in my friend's basement. It was very fun. I ate lots of pizza, and her dad had no idea that I was living in the basement. She and I would eat pizza every day. But anyway, my point with that is I would love to hear your experiences. Feel free to leave a giant comment. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and thank you for staying curious.